fight. Ouch. Fortune favors the bold. An armor-clad knight stands, exuding an extraordinarily powerful aura. The knight faces you and asks, "Might you be challengers?" But after sizing you up for a long moment, his shoulders slump and he mutters, "No, you are not yet ready." "Grow strong, young ones," he says, then returns to standing in silence. It appears he awaits a stalwart warrior to challenge him. About the enemy. Fortune favors the bold. You did great. And fight. Oh? Nice work. Nice work. come across two men sitting on a rock. They take no notice of you or the party, but you can hear their fervent discussion. You listen in and deduce that they are a pair of thieves. You lean in, trying to hear what else the thieves are talking about. You catch pieces of the conversation here and there. Listen about that loot. Head south from the harbor and cross the mountains. It sounds like they've just told you where to find their stolen loot. You hastily grab a scrap of paper, write down what you've heard, and quietly sneak away. Nice work. You did great. You can't go in there. The harbor is closed today. Anyone seeking shoreline should move 3 spaces to the southeast. Look, you two, it's the sea, Riddis exclaims, frolicking in glee. You, on the other hand, trudge along as far as you can from the coast, ignoring the hair sticking to your forehead. Feeling something at your feet, you glance down. There's something underneath your boot. seems you've stepped on a monster's cape, making it very upset. It attacks you in fury. You hear a roar in the distance. According to the townsfolk, it is a very recent phenomenon. Rumor in the village has it that it might be the dragon. You set foot inside the inn only to be greeted with the great clanging of a bell. "Congratulations," the innkeeper shouts above the joyous din. It would appear you and your companions are this inn's 10,000th customers. That means you've won the lifetime of free stays pass. A troubled woman tells you that there has been a rise in thefts lately. She speculates the recession to be the cause. She claims that even the cold medicine she always has on hand has disappeared. She narrows her eyes at the crowd, suspecting there is a thief among them, and offers a reward for the return of the medicine. Your ears perk up at the word reward, and you immediately agree to help expose the dirty thief. There is a sign on the door. "Not home. Come back later." The man says the fishing industry is usually thriving in their seaside town, but recently nets have been coming up empty. He mentions that even the fishing harbor to the northwest has been suffering from poor hauls of late. You approach a woman sneaking around in a corner of town. Hearing your voice, she turns in surprise. You see a vial of cold medicine clutched in her hands. You explain that the person she stole it from needs it back. The woman begins to explain her own situation with downcast eyes. "My poor little boy is bedridden," she says tearfully. "He needs medicine, but I don't have any money, so I took it." Hearing her tale, you are overcome by sympathy and decide to look the other way. She thanks you and hands you something, apologizing for not having more. Medicine in hand, the woman leaves quickly. Now then, what to tell the other lady? You explain that you were unable to find the thief. Clearly saddened by the news, she explains that she keeps the medicine on hand for her husband, who gets sick quite easily. She laments that she may not have the money to buy more. Unsure if you made the right choice, you return to your journey with a heavy heart. Saving one forsakes the other. What a cruel world this is. She laments that she may not have the money to buy more. can feel the dragon's presence. I must inform Lady Winifred, the knight mutters. You feel impatient, determined not to let the order beat you to it. Watch out, your friends cry, as something comes hurtling straight at your face. You keep your cool. Your friends gasp as you catch whatever it is before it clobbers you. Let's do this. About the enemy. Fortune favors the bold. Pick up a scrap of paper dropped by some manner of monster. It has a message scrawled on it in crude lettering. Clearly, whoever dropped this message did not want to forget where the stolen treasure is hidden. You stash the scrap of paper in your pack and resolve to keep an eye out for the treasure on your travels. come across a gaping hole in the ground. A sign beside it depicts a piece of armor, followed by, "Do not drop this in the hole." It's only human to want to do exactly what you're told not to. You pretend you never saw the sign and drop the armor into the hole. "Hey!" a voice shouts from within, clearly furious. The voice carries on as a piece of armor, emitting its own blinding light, rises from the hole. "Is this the armor of light you cast into my hole?" You respond. "It is," you intone, slack-jawed, utterly transfixed by the gleaming armor before you. "You lie. However, I shall part with this armor for a price," the voice bargains. You hastily drop the money into the hole and hoist the dazzling armor from its floating perch. Examine it carefully, heart pounding from the thrill of the purchase. You raise an eyebrow. You've been tricked. This is perfectly ordinary armor. About the enemy. It appears this sturdy door has a magic seal on it. Unfortunately, it is out of her realm of expertise. Excellent. Let's do this. However willing you might be, you don't have the armor depicted, so you walk away. You spy a rather large number of monster prints on the ground. A wry smile plays across your lips as you remove the scrap of paper from your pack. You pull from your pack the note a monster dropped near the musty tower. You feel around in the grass for a few moments before your hand strikes something surprisingly firm. The the scrap of paper tells no lies. You greedily open the chest. Oh? And fight. You did great. Congrats. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. A bizarre rock appeared. It seems primed to explode. The bizarre rock transformed into an aqua rock. The only way out of this fight is through it. You see something approaching from up ahead. A monster, Melanie shouts, readying for battle. Mr. Flobby, get back here. It's dangerous out there, a young girl chides, taking the creature back to the village. It seems you've finally arrived at Unionville, a village where humans and monsters live together in peace. What a weird place, remarks Ridis lightheartedly. I like it. We aren't staying a moment longer than necessary, says an unsettled Melanie, her distaste for monsters plain on her face. The woman frowns deeply, claiming the cakes she bought for her beloved furball have all been eaten by someone else. A quiet furball sits with crumbs around its mouth. The child says his monster friend left the village suddenly to go back home. He claims the headman told him that he could go home when he grew up too. The little orc child pouts, but I don't know where my home is. You ask the old man if he knows anything about the dragon. No, sir, he answers. All I know is that it brings more trouble to this already troubled world. But our headman is a wise and worldly man. He might know something, he remarks, pointing at a house not far away. The little goblin sulks as he gazes upon the withering flowers he tried so desperately to take care of. He looks at you with tears in his eyes, silently begging you for help. They must be thirsty, you think to yourself. Then douse the flowers in water until... Stop, stop, the goblin shrieks angrily. You're drowning them. If it were that easy, the goblin says, he would have done it himself. You pour the salve onto the flowers, and they stand up tall. The goblin cries out in happiness and thanks you for your help. He then holds something out to you. The goblin stares lovingly at the beautiful flowers and gobbles them up. Healthy flowers are the tastiest, he proclaims in glee. Did he grow those flowers just to eat them? A young boy wanders up to your group in wide-eyed wonder. You surmise his curiosity stems from the lack of travelers visiting the village. You realize you are right when he assails you with questions about your origins and adventures. The Inquisition leaves you exhausted. However does your mouth become so filthy, Mr. Flobby? Sighs the girl as she wipes the slime clean. Clearly embarrassed, Mr. Flobby murmurs, "That's not my mouth." The little orc child is engrossed in a fairy tale. The title reads, "The Legend of the Dragon." You take a peek into the picture book and come across a passage that piques your interest. To where, you wonder, then recall that this is merely a fairy tale. The village headman is a renowned gourmet, and rumor has it he only dines on the finest foods. The man says he wishes he too could have such a lavish meal just once in his life, his deep desire for delicacies only growing with time. Wow, a new friend, and so big too, the furball exclaims in glee as it rushes over to Mar. Mar stares off into the distance as the furball snuggles up to his leg. For some reason, Riddis joins in on the cuddling. Lately, a suspicious man cloaked in black has been seen wandering about the village outskirts. The old woman looks at Melanie and remarks that he was dressed just like her. Travelers, you hear a voice call from somewhere. Down here, at thy feet, you look down to see a small clump of fur by your boots. The clump of fur speaks. I am Lappy, and I should like to journey forth with thee. Lappy the furball looks at you with amiable expectations. Why do you want to join us? You ask candidly. I heard a voice calling my name, so I must find to whom it belongs, he answers with a faraway gaze. No more monsters, comes Melanie's cold reply. When you say more, do you mean Mar? You ask, but Melanie doesn't answer. Thoroughly rejected by Melanie, Lappy bursts into tears. Lappy says he has no friends because of his aged face and speech. All alone, he decided to leave the village on a journey. Your party is silenced by the crying child with the face of a grown man. It seems even monsters have their problems. You tell Melanie to be nice and quip that both she and Lappy could use a friend. Exhausted from arguing with you, Melanie half-heartedly agrees. Fine, we can be friends. However, she says that they are on a dangerous journey to defeat the dragon. As such, they cannot take a child with them. Lappy leaps up and hugs her in his excitement, exclaiming, "Thou hast made me so happy." Till next time, Melanie says, peeling Lappy off of her and placing him on the ground. Though she thought all monsters to be evil, Melanie feels that the ones here are different. Finally, a friend. You bow, but before you can speak, the man suddenly introduces himself as the village headman. He laughs, then shamelessly praises his own village as being wondrous and peaceful. "And who are you?" he asks. We are a traveling circus, you say. It's not a total lie. I should have seen. I too traveled the world once long ago, eating every delicacy I found along the way, he reminisces, then welcomes you to his village. Feeling sorry for the old man, Melanie explains that you are actually looking to defeat the dragon. Seemingly unaffected by your lie, the headman speaks. I see. How brave of you. He says that he had heard rumors of the dragon when he traveled the world. You must be tired from your journey. Have a seat. I will have my chef prepare a feast, the headman says, then claps his hands twice to summon a stewardess. Extravagant dishes that you have never seen before are placed on the table before you, each one looking more delicious than the last. You're drooling, Melanie scowls. You hadn't even noticed. You wipe your mouth with your sleeve, then gasp as you turn to Mar. Perhaps in an attempt to hold himself back, Mar is gnawing on the table corner. There, we'll eat soon, you reassure Mar while gently stroking his head. The doors fly open in the next instant, and a girl runs in. With tears in her eyes, she tells you that her dear companion, Mr. Flobby the Slime, is missing. The headman's eyes go wide in surprise. We must find that slime right away, he says anxiously. You are starving, but it doesn't look like you'll be able to partake of the feast before you because of Mr. Flobby's disappearance. We will find your slime, and then we feast, you add quietly. Melanie reminds you that you are here to get clues about the dragon from the headman. What's the difference? Literally everything. Hunger taking its toll, you two begin to argue. Brave heroes, the headman interjects, then bows his head. Would you please find her slime? It appears the story has hit a standstill until you find the missing Mr. Flobby. You need to hear the whole story from the young girl. The girl sobs, wailing about the missing Mr. Flobby. Melanie places her hand atop the girl's head and promises that your party will find her companion. The girl then hands something to Melanie. It looks like the muddy handkerchief she used to wipe Mr. Flobby. She asks Melanie to wipe Mr. Flobby with it after you find him. Regardless, looking aimlessly outside the village would be a waste of time. You decide to collect more information in the village.